When Mary reached the place where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come along with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit. "Where have you laid him?" he asked. "Come and see, Lord," they replied. Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, "See how he loved him." But some of them said, "Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying?" Jesus once more, deeply moved, came to the tomb. It was a cave with a stone laid across the entrance. "Roll the stone aside," Jesus told them. But Martha, the dead man's sister, protested, "Lord, he has been dead for 4 days. The smell will be terrible." Then Jesus said, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" John chapter 11 from verse 32 to 40. The dead man's sister protested, "By this time, there is a bad odor. By this time, the smell will be terrible. By this time, he is stinky. By this time, the stench is much." I don't know the story of your life, but I came this morning that we may remind ourselves of an area of life that we all may not want to talk about because it stinks, it smells, and all hope that the God of impossibilities can make it well is gone. All hope, the trust that we may have, and the God that brings to existence things that does not exist is gone. We all know the story of Lazarus, and we can see from the story that it was a situation that made the sisters of Lazarus to weep. We are told that Mary got to that point where Jesus was. She fell at his feet, just like any of us we go before the altar of God, just like any of us we go before the presence of God, just like any of us we go to any ground where we know we could have a connection with God. And somehow we want to tell God, if you had been here, if you have been active enough, if you were not sleeping, if you were not just there doing your own things, if you had been watchful, if you had been paying a little bit more attention to me, I would not have been raped. If you had listened to me, if you were there active enough, I would not have ended up in this wrong marriage. I would not have ended up with this wrong partner. If you have been active enough, if you loved me enough, if you had been watching enough, you would not have allowed me to end up with the wrong partner. You would not have allowed me to even start a relationship in the first place where I would be dumped, ditched, rejected, neglected. You would not have allowed me to enter into the wrong home, the wrong family. You would not have allowed any of this to happen. you would not have allowed me failed. If you have been watchful enough, you would not have even allowed me to enter into a life, a religious life, a congregation. I feel that this is no longer my place. A whole lot of stuff has gone wrong just because I believe you were not present when I was making my choices. I believe you were not present when I came to report a situation to you and ask for your direction. I believe you were not present. So whatever is happening to me is because God was absent in everything. The scripture said, when he saw her weeping, Jesus was deeply moved. Looking at even others weeping because of her. People complaining and asking God, Lord, why? Why have you allowed this woman to suffer? This brother, this priest, this sister, this lady, this person, these children. I mean, if he had been dead, they would not have been orphaned in the first place. Seeing others even throwing a little bit of blame through their tears. Like, truly. And we are told that at a point, some of them could not hide their feelings even towards Jesus. And they asked, could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying? Did we not hear that he was doing all kinds of things in other people's lives, marriages, relationship, religious life? Could not he who had helped others, if he was active enough, they echoed it out to say, he would have kept this man from dying. That was true. To them, this was it. Then we are told that when he had asked already, where have you laid him? And they showed him the place. It was time to roll away the stone. Someone stepped forward, the other sister of Lazarus, and she protested. No. She told God no. And she has one good reason, is that by this time that you are telling me to reopen the case of my marriage, to come out again and say I'm discussing it because I need a solution, it's too late. By this time that you're telling me to discuss my life as a widow, it's too late. By this time you're telling me to come and discuss what has happened in all my relationship, what has happened in my life when I was raped, to open it, it's too late. Despite the fact that Martha knew this is what has caused her not to move forward. This is what has caused her not to go forward. This is what has caused her not to stand again in confidence again. This is what has happened to your own life. You know you can't move forward. You know that you are stuck in pain. And this is an issue you don't want to even discuss. Because discussing it is bringing about pain. Is bringing about anger. Is bringing about blame to God. And so you prefer it just there, in order that it will not be discussed, it will not be touched. You don't want anybody to raise it up again. A lot of us used so many things to cover it. Some of us entered into addictions. Some of us entered into a defense mechanism. Some of us chose a different lifestyle that made us look tougher than who we used to be. Some of us really just became unnecessarily difficult. Some of us began to have revenge on others around us, just that you don't want anybody to discuss anything about your life. A lot of us closed up a lot of things out of our lives, and things were no longer the same because you don't want to roll away the stone. We are too scared to believe we are loved. We are too scared to believe again that things can get better. All we see is impossibilities. All we see is a life that is impossible to be readjusted. All we see is, I cannot be healed from this. Sometimes this is the kind of day you don't want to wake up to. Someone reminding you that you have a grave where you have laid an issue. You have a grave where you have buried an affair. You have a grave where you have buried a relationship. You have a grave where you have buried a serious pain and you are not ready to go through pain. Have you ever been deeply wounded? So much that when the doctor was about to touch it, your legs were vibrating. You could see his hands. The more you see the hand of the doctor about to touch a wound, about to open the plaster, about to roll off the bandages that were used to wrap your leg. When the doctor is about to tear off, and your legs are shaking, your hands are shaking, your body is shaking because you know the pain. You don't just want to go through it anymore. And so you prefer to protest. God, don't bring it up. God, I don't want to discuss it. Yet the eternal Father just asked you, roll the stone. Roll the belief that I don't love you. Roll the belief that you are not loved. Roll the belief that I cannot solve the problem. Roll the belief that even if you are going through hell, that I cannot see you and make it fruitful. Roll away that belief. Roll away the stone of unbelief where you believe that I cannot turn it around for you. Just roll away the stone of your anger that stops me from attending to you. Your anger towards me that you have kept quiet, buried it, and used it as a way of cementing the issue. Roll away just that pain, that unbelief, that frustration. Just roll away the impatience. Roll it away and allow me to step in. Don't forget, Jesus said, if you pass through the fire, you will not be burnt. You pass through the waters, you will not be drowned. It means there are certain situations that may not come back to life as it is, that may not be corrected the way you wanted it, because the people said he would have prevented the man from dying, so the deed has been done. And yet God is saying, it's affecting your marriage. It's affecting the new people I brought into your life in order to give you joy, to give you hope, and to make you feel loved. It's affecting your new relationship. It's affecting a whole lot of blessings that are placed around you. Can you roll away the stone? And let me use this event to heal it. When you remember the past, what they have done to you, what brothers and sisters, those within your inner cycle has done to you, all you need to do is to roll away the stone, even if the pain is something you don't want to go through. A lot of us have so much of defense mechanisms. We shout, we rage, we fought, we fight. You do all kinds of stuff. They are all stones you've put because you don't want to feel vulnerable anymore. It smells. By this time, she said, Lord, there is a bad odor. By this time, it stinks. By this time, the stench is much. By this time, the smell is terrible. And yet God says, Jesus answered her, did I not tell you that if you believe, you would see the glory of God? God is still asking us, each and every one of us, has he not told you that if you believe? It's risky to trust in God. Of course, it's risky. The last time you prayed before the event even happened, you were wishing that he was there. That was why you knew that he was not there. You believed he was not there. He died. The situation happened. It struck. The sickness happened. The death came in. The relationship broke down. They accused you falsely. Things happened to you. And all you believe is that things are no longer where they are. It stinks, Lord. And Jesus is still saying, can you trust me? You see, you may not have a father, a mother, a husband, a wife. You may not be able to get back your name because it was destroyed in the way it was destroyed. But God is still asking you, just like he said in Isaiah chapter 62, I will give you a new name. Can you just trust me? Can you just trust me? Yeah, you were raped. Can you just hand it over to me and let it go, and know that not everyone is what you think. Then looking at it again, you look at your life. Of course, you've been a victim of domestic violence. Your parents made you to begin to enter into relationships early enough because they kept fighting. Things were scattered. Your father didn't drop money for food and feeding. You couldn't feed. Things are bad where it is, and God is still saying, even if your life, that part of your life stinks, I want to help you. I want to help you. I don't know how God is going to help you, but I want you to share your story. Maybe you're still going through it, or you've gone through it, and you can testify truly that when you believe, things change. How has your marriage been all the while? What has happened to your marriage? How has it been? Domestic violence? What have you experienced over the years that you've been married? Do you still have hope that it will be restored? Or was it restored? Share it with us. What has happened to your life? Do you have a particular story about a relationship, about an event, something somebody did, an accusation over your life that you feel so strongly is a story you don't want to share? What you are today may be a product of the pain you went through. Can you just share it with us? How has it affected your relationship? Do you even believe that people love you? What are the defense, the stone? Why are you getting so much anger, pain, and frustrated around this time? This is the moment to share with us. Open it. And how have you laid it before God? Has things gotten better even if they are not completely done? Have things changed even if they are not completely where you want them to be? How has it been over the years when you started showing God where you laid the secret, the affair, the pain, the anger, the frustration, the issue? How has it been all this while? Is the story changing, or has it changed? Has the God of impossibilities, has He done a new thing in your life when you started offering it? Please share it with us. Somebody wants to hear your story. Somebody wants to be encouraged by it. Somebody wants to know that they are not the only one going through what you are going through. They want to know they will have a partner that is still believing. Share it. You can share it with the admins. You can share it directly on the group. All we need you to do is to pour it out and ask the Lord to step in, either to bless it or to begin a process. My dear friend, I pray for you as I pray for myself, that may the Eternal Father bring an end to every form of death that has kept us captive from moving as joyful and happy people in God. Every form of death within our lives, within our environment, every event that has caused us to be in pain, may the Eternal Father bring an end to everything and give us new life again. My dear friends, the Lord be with you.